In one of the last videos, I showed you a way how, for example, we can also apply a texture directly onto an object as kind of like a material, so to replace the color. But the problem is, inside my external application, I would have to position the texture and then bring the logo back into Blender and then switch into material preview to see how it looks. And I can't really adjust it in here. So in case I would like to move the logo, then I would have to go back into Photoshop or Illustrator. So it's a little bit inconvenient doing that way. And one of the Blender users, Todd, actually reminded me about a similar technique I used in previous versions of Blender, which don't really work with the new Cycles engine. But basically, this technique updated now to work with cycles. So what we're going to do, think about like you have a sticker with the logo and you just stick it or glue it over this finished piece. In model making, let's say you would build this one out of foam and you would spray paint it and finish it, and then you have a logo, you would print it out, take a glue stick, put glue on, and glue it onto your foam model. Borrowing basically from this manual approach, we can simply create a sticker and then make the sticker project onto our iron. So that's what we're going to do. So let's, for example, open this logo, but not in preview, and Pixelmator. So I'm going to crop this. Maybe like this, a little bit of space left and right, not too much. Okay, and then I have to remove the background to make it transparent, like this. Okay, perfect. And then I export this one as a PNG. Porsche logo. And there we have the file. So that's good. Now in Blender, there's something. Let's see if I have it. No, we don't have it activated. So what we have to do is, for example, go to the user preferences, go to add-ons, that's correct, and here type in image, because we can import actually an image as a plane, and then that plane will be scaled to the format actually of our image. So by having this typed in with the checkbox, you can turn it on. If you want to always have it saved, click Save User Settings. And then import now. Here's my image as planes. So if I click this now, and here's my logo. And let's see what options we have here. Diffuse. Okay. Import. And let's see, there it is. So you see that this rectangle perfectly has the size actually of that logo. So I can maybe, of course, first scale it down. Let's move it to here. And then I would have to rotate it a little bit. So just simple R, rotating. And now I can, for example, in the side view, play around and see, well, maybe where would I like this one to fit over. I don't want to make it too big, but I just leave it here for the moment. So maybe we can bring it over a little bit more to there, and let's see. This is basically step 1. Step 2, we should add a subdivision surface to it. And the reason why is I would like this surface to be subdivided. So hold on, let me turn on my screencast so you can see the steps that I'm doing right now. So I can press W and subdivide, and then maybe have 4 cuts. Yeah, that's sufficient. So I have a really nice and fine mesh, because in the next step I'm going to see, what's the name? This is iron 6. For the sticker, I'm going to add something called Shrinkwrap. And that is basically, how could I say that? A modifier for deformation. And that is now pressing this sticker geometry over my cloth iron. So when you apply it, nothing first really happens. But I can select a target. So for example, I would like to use iron 6. And there you already see that looks a little bit wonky. Well, a few things we have to set. First, let's select project. And you see I have my 3D widget turned on, and also local space, because I see local space Z is actually horizontal. So it basically means I would like the sticker along negative Z projected towards my piece. So I can select axis for Z and negative there. So now you see that this actually fits much better over the surface. A sticker is also not really at the surface, but it rests on top of the surface. And you can here actually see that it looks like the red surface slightly shines through. And that's basically because the geometry of my sticker is really occupying the same space as my cloth iron. So I can apply a really tiny offset, just a notch. And this basically, maybe I'm gonna make a view like this, moves the sticker slightly in front. And you can see if I, for example, play with this value, that I increase the space in between the sticker and my cloth iron. Okay. And the nice thing is now I can just move this one around. And you see that sticker basically flows over my surface. Okay, so from this view, for example, it looks okay. Maybe let's try to pick a position where it's maybe awkward. Let's say we go really close to here. You can see that, how could I say that? The piece seems to be stretched, and there's just few things you need to consider to try to, and for example, here now you can see from there it looks okay, but the moment we look from here, that this actually is kind of like stretched. It looks like the top corner moves to the right, sorry, the left. And that is because my surface is not really perpendicular to the z-axis. So what I have to do is, yeah, let me turn this one off so you can see more what I'm doing. I try to position the sticker more so that it really looks like being perpendicular to the target surface. So this way I can minimize the amount of stretching or distortion. Okay, let's take a look. So this, for example, now is actually more realistic. And the really nice part is, because I'm dealing here just with an object and not with a texture, I am totally free in moving this decal wherever I want to. Okay. The only thing that's not yet really finished, and that's is actually the white background of my logo. So in my image editor, I can see that the background actually is transparent, but it's not really transparent currently in Blender. So the way how to fix this is simply, I have a diffuse material, and this diffuse material is getting the color from the texture. So we can, for example, add a mix shader, and then we can add a transparent shader. And transparent basically means, yeah, it's transparent. Maybe put this one to there. And then, so you can mix between being transparent and being opaque. And for the mix factor, I would like to use the transparency value of my pre-existing image. So in this case, actually, as you can see, the logo now is transparent, and actually the background is opaque, so that's not really what actually I'm looking for. So there are two ways how I can change this. One way is simply change the order of shader 1 and shader 2, because shader 1 will be transparent, and shader 2, that's my texture, and then this black and white image with the transparency or the alpha value is being used to yeah, kind of like stencil this out. And to show you more in detail what's actually happening there, so here's my logo. And for example, here, this is basically showing you how my alpha channel looks like. So white is solid and black is transparent. That's the reason why the outside is being cut out. That's probably the easiest way to quickly fix it. There's another one. Where is it? If you go to color, so Shift A, color, invert. Invert is basically, well, as the name says, it's flipping a value. So I can drag this one onto the alpha and simply this way change how black and white is interpreted. Okay, perfect. So yeah, this way basically we now have everything set. If, let's say, I would like this logo also to be on my other side of my iron, that's maybe a little bit more tricky. Let's see. Okay, I can use again iron 6 because this one is half a model. So what I'm going to do is I'm telling my sticker to be mirrored along the x-axis. That is correct. But the object, so where the center of the mirroring will happen, is actually my iron 6. Getting there. So the cool part is now, if I move this one, it updates also on the other side. And that's then the easiest way to place logos or text, because I can even rotate the logo along the z-axis, for example, to adjust it. So branding your product this way will be really very easy and very flexible. I showed you before how to use to do everything inside one texture file, and it's more the traditional way how to do it. But specifically, and I assume you can see the value of this approach, is when you're in the process of exploring the design directions or ideas. This process here with using decals, which we project with the shrink wrap onto our object, is actually maybe one tick more work, while actually painting a texture is also work, but we have ultimately instantly much more feedback and ability to really play through some styling ideas. So honestly, this is the one I would use for most of the time.